Hey guys, so I've been sitting here making videos, coming up with some answers to the questions you guys have been asking me over this last year. So I wanted to jump right into my healing protocol from adhesive arachnoiditis, or I guess another way to look at it is what my healing protocol has morphed into over a period of time with the information of understanding what all my diagnoses are. As you guys know, I'm pretty, I look to food and exercise first for solutions. I've always been that way. I don't like to just pop a pill or take supplements as my first go-to, but there's a time and a place for it. And, when you have 3 rare incurable diseases that are affecting your daily mobility and your ability to live any kind of normal life, even around the house, you got to start seeking answers, or at least I did. I didn't want to stay in my bed. And so this is kind of what culminated and came together to get me out of being bedbound. So I'm just going to go through the list of what I started and what I'm still, for the most part, doing today. So after my adhesive arachnoiditis, excuse me, diagnosis, that was, 2.5 years after my Tarlov Cyst surgery, to give you a guideline. So I had been, the year leading up to that adhesive arachnoiditis diagnosis, I was in really bad shape. That was the point at which all the inflammation in my body was just out of control. I couldn't be upright without, either throwing up if I was up too long, or shaking, or just being in severe pain for weeks afterwards, let alone during the whole ordeal of trying to be mobile or be up. So the first thing when I talked to Dr. Tennant was he spoke to me about the Tennant protocol. So if you have adhesive arachnoiditis, I highly encourage you. He now actually has a book called the Tennant protocol that you can buy on Amazon. I don't have that because I was his patient before all that started. But from what I understand, it's very informative. And if you want to find that information online, it's going to take you months of research. So that's what I had to do, but you don't have to do that. You can just go buy the book. So the Tennant protocol, and the first layer for me was to get on the 3 most beneficial medications to calm down neuroinflammation and to try to basically get the progression of the adhesions in my spine to stop. Because when adhesive arachnoiditis becomes aggressive and progressive, it becomes systemic, and that's what had happened to me, and it was awful. And I gained a lot of weight even, which I'd never really gained weight in my life. And it wasn't for lack of eating unhealthy, or for eating healthy food, because I was still putting tons of nutrition in my body every day. Okay, so Tennant protocol, 3 first medications, 2 shots, 3 times a week. This is I do it for making sure that it's preventative at this point. I've had a lot of progress. Toradol or ketorolac. I think ketorolac, one of those is the generic name, but the same thing. Toradol, ketorolac, 30 milligrams, 1 ml, injected Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. At the same time, I also do an injection of a very low dose of a steroid called dexamethasone, and I do a 0.5 to 0.75 milligram injection. That's not even a quarter of the vial. It's like 1/8 of the vial. So we had to be taught how to do that sterilely. I don't recommend anybody go home and do this. This is just that everybody asks me, what am I doing? And I want to be able to send you to one place to answer this, because I know how it feels when you literally don't know where to start. So Toradol injection Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, dexamethasone injection Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. I take them at the exact same time, and that is actually the only thing that really deviates from Dr. Tennant's recommendations, because he recommended doing the dexamethasone at 3 p.m. but for the sake of being able to do it, we couldn't do it that way. I didn't have enough muscle mass in my thighs or my arm to be able to put the injections in myself. So the only place I could safely do injections, according to my pain management doctor who helps me with the protocol, or did help me with protocol, was to put it in, you know, my hip glute area. So that being said, it had to get done before my husband went to work on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that's why we had to do it super early in the morning on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So when I talk to people about the Tennant protocol and the injections, that might be something that's different than other people's, you know, experience, and that's why. And then the third medication for that like triangle of 3 things to start with was the acetazolamide. Acetazolamide is something that they use in basically mountain sickness. And you know, Dr. Tennant uses like such a super teeny tiny low dose for me because I couldn't handle like even a half a pill. I had to do a quarter of a pill twice a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So same thing. They were all Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They weren't something that I took daily. But that acetazolamide was literally my miracle drug for the first 2 years of treatment, 1.5 years. Like I was able to be upright like this, sitting, more and more the longer I was doing those 3 things. So that is like the pillar of my adhesive arachnoiditis protocol. And the ketorolac is such an important piece. And the reason I have to do injections and not any kind of oral dosing is from all the GI issues I've had. So, you know, Toradol straight into the bloodstream bypasses having to go through your digestive system. And also ketorolac Toradol is one of the only drugs that passes the blood-brain barrier, so it actually helps with the neuroinflammation. It's totally different than taking Advil. So that's why it was super important to take those 3 things that exact specific way, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. All right, so what else do I do? Some of these things are also recommended from the information that Dr. Tennant gave me. Daily stretching. Now I say daily stretching, some of you might be thinking, ouch, no way, I can't stretch. I'm in super pain and I don't want to make it worse. You're right. Learn how to stretch the right way, you guys. Like Dr. Tennant has resources where he literally just wants you to reach up over your head, like put both your hands up like this and stand up tall and straight and just reach up. And that right there will give you it'll give you just a beginning of starting to stretch your spine. And if you do that every day, like 2-3 times a day, it really does make a difference. When I was bedbound, I forced myself to get up and do those stretches 3 times a day. Now I wasn't bedbound like to where I was paralyzed. I was bedbound by my symptoms. So, you know, if I was up too long, I'd be throwing up and dizzy and it was awful. So, you know, yes, I was bedbound like 80% of the time. I could still go to the bathroom, but some days it had to be my husband carrying me because my legs were so weak and I couldn't walk. But other days I could just walk to the bathroom and walk back. So daily stretching, super important. That is one thing it's been a non-negotiable for me since my first diagnosis with Tarlov Cyst Disease. I've always stretched every single day. I grew up with the move it or, you know, use it or lose it. And I knew that I could do something, even if it's laying in bed and pulling a towel around my feet, you know, like around the ball of my foot, and then just stretching, or even using my foot against each other as pressure to stretch the other back of the other foot. Just getting stretches, you know, just stretch, just stretch. You know, you don't have to stretch your spine if you're scared of injuring it. I get that. Again, physical therapy is so important. You know, get with professionals if you don't know how to stretch. I grew up dancing. I feel very confident in knowing how to stretch and not hurt myself, but I know not everybody has that background information. And honestly, that Tennant stretch, that's what I needed in the beginning of this journey. So don't underestimate just standing up and reaching above your head with both arms and getting that stretch along your spine. And I'm not talking about twisting or bending, just a straight stretch. That's what he recommends, but I'm not a doctor and he's even retired now. So this is not medical advice. Again, this is just what I do. Okay. All right, another thing I do is daily Epsom salt baths. Water soaking helps like with everything. And Epsom salt, and I mean minimum 2 cups of Epsom salt with your bath water. And from my, let's see, naturopathic doctor, she said, you know, you can make some detox bath salts with things like essential oils, and, you know, you could put like vinegar in your water. You could do there's all different kinds of like detox bath recipes. Just look them up on Pinterest. But a detox bath is great because when you can't exercise, like, how else are you going to sweat and detox? Like, that was my go-to before I became disabled. I ran and I ran and I ran and, you know, like, now I can't run. And so I sweat out crud every day in the bath. And then as soon as my body starts to stop sweating, I get out and then I'm done. And so Epsom salts are great. They have magnesium in them. And that's wonderful for your muscles. It's wonderful for your mood. Again, I'm not a doctor, but these are just things you can find on the internet too about the benefits of magnesium and Epsom salt soak baths. Okay, another thing for the cerebral spinal fluid, to get it going and flowing instead of getting like stuck in all the adhesions. Dr. Tennant recommended that I do some kind of rocking in a rocking chair or swinging or something. Or he also had walking on a trampoline, but that sent me into really bad flares early on this journey, so I didn't do any rebounding when he recommended it. Excuse me, but we do have, like, the recliner rocker chair in our living room, and so I would just do it for like a minute. Like, back then it hurt really bad to sit and rock. So even just a minute, a few times a week, that was enough. Like, that seriously was enough to get it going, guys. And then as time has gone on, like this last year, it's gotten easier and easier. I can go swing on our backyard swing a little bit. I don't swing too long because my hips start to hurt pretty bad, but I feel it. I can feel that my spine is happy when I do a little bit of swinging. It's also great for your lymphatic system. Look that up too. Okay, so now we're going into some of the things. Let's see. Yep. All the rest of this is stuff that my husband and I have found to be helpful on my healing journey ever since my adhesive arachnoiditis diagnosis. Okay, so first thing is infrared light therapy. Love it. We literally made one for like under $40. We got an infrared light from Home Depot, got one of those like, lamps you can clamp, put it on a mic stand, clamped it up there, put it next to the bed, and I lay there underneath it like it's our chicken light. Like that's how they hatch chickens. I do that from 3 to 4 times a week, and I'll explain after the next one. So the other thing that we do is I do a treatment with a microcurrent therapy device called the DiaDENS. It's DiaDENS, and I have the PCM3. I think it's up to 6 or 7 now, but I got this back at the very, very beginning when I was trying to heal before Tarlov Cyst surgery. I got new training in it after my adhesive arachnoiditis diagnosis, and basically I'm on a protocol of doing it 3 to 4 times a week with what the technician recommended for his MS patients. So a lot of the symptoms, and there's a lot of similarities I have with MS patients, so that's why I've finally learned, like, just to go with it and do some of the things that help them, and usually they help me too. So the infrared light therapy and the DiaDENS treatment requires my husband's help because it's me laying on my stomach and him stroking like along my back, like one side and then the other side of my spine, one segment at a time. It takes about 15 minutes, but it does work best if he does it. There's a way for me to do like a modified one with the med mode where I lay against a pillow, but it doesn't work as well. This is the recommended treatment. Again, I don't treat, I don't diagnose, I'm not a doctor. This is just, it's what's working for me. But I switch between the infrared light one day and then the DiaDENS the next day. And when I do that, when I do one of those every day and go back and forth, I stay out of flares so much better. Like, I don't know why all the science is behind that. I just know that for me, that helps a lot. And, okay, so another thing that we've tried and has been very beneficial and we continue to do because of how much it helps is massaging my spine with essential oils. Guys, I love essential oils. Like, you're going to probably hear more about essential oils and you'll get sick of hearing about it, but they are amazing. And I only use one kind, really, 2 at the most, because I want to use the pure stuff. I tried several different brands, but they don't all work the same. So I had some really nasty reactions to some of the other brands that didn't have the same purity standards as the one that I use. So just know that. Massaging the spine with essential oils, super awesome. Mixing essential oils with the use of the DiaDENS or the infrared light, super, super awesome because it drives the essential oils in deeper and it gets like further under the skin level. It's just awesome. It's amazing. They work great together. Let's see. Oh, this was one that my husband found, and it was so smart. It was just like, I couldn't believe he thought of this. So after we do like all these different treatments and stuff on my back, he started saying, hey, why don't you let me use a feather and like just rub it like along the nerve pathways up and down your spine. And we envisioned like, hey, that's like kind of making the nerves have to reach up and grab, like kind of like when you get the chills, you know, like you get the chills and you can just feel that your nerves are like stretching. It's kind of like that. And so we talked to one of my doctors about it, and they're like, yeah, actually there is some science behind that and helping create new nerve pathways. And so go for it, try it. It's not gonna hurt anything. So we do that. We stimulate the spine and nerves. Again, me laying on my stomach, him using the feather and going up and down my spine. And then also like, you know, you think of the spine, all the nerves branch out of it sideways. So like he'll move the feather in the direction of the way the nerves branch out, if that makes sense. Okay. The next thing that I did, well, not the next thing, but another thing I do is I take supplements. And I take a lot of supplements. Like we're having to flood my body with nutrition. But me specifically, like yes, there's a huge supplement list that you can find through the Tennant protocol. And that is a great place to start. I promise it's a great place to start. But I needed to know why some things were working and some weren't, and why I struggled to take turmeric. I couldn't hold it on my stomach. I had other things going on with my digestive system, just lots of things going on that I wasn't getting the right benefit from these supplements I was spending precious money on. And so because I wanted to choose as holistic as a path as possible, which is costly when it's not covered by insurance, I wanted to make sure we were doing the right thing for my body because everybody's body is so different. So I got Essential Nutrient DNA Panel from my chiropractor. So my chiropractor is like a superhero. She's the one that, you know, totally pointed me to Dr. Feigenbaum to get the surgery, and she is the one that helps me with my weekly chiropractic treatments and adjustments and craniosacral therapy, which is like another thing on my list. I'm booming ahead here. And she also is a nutritionist. So when she went to college, she got her degree to become a doctor, chiropractor, you know, spent 8 years in college and became a doctor. And she also got a degree in nutrition. And now, from what I understand, she's going back to get like the equivalent of her doctorate in nutrition. So yay! Because she is so knowledgeable. She's such a researcher. And I have just been so willing to follow her lead on this because I know her passion for wanting to get to the root issue. So that being said, did the micronutrient testing with her. It's basically looking at the epigenetics of our DNA, which is controversial. But for people who are in situations like us where there's not a lot of treatment therapy options available, it's worth it. It's experimental. It's worth a try. And I know that it can be costly. So again, that's why we wanted to pinpoint exactly what my body needed. And she is a phenomenal resource for that. I will actually link her office in the description below because she can do telehealth conferences or whatever. She doesn't know I'm recommending you, but seriously, like I'm sure there's other people too she could probably recommend you going to that are local. But she's a great resource and I can't say enough good things about her. So the other thing that leads me into the other side of what I've done, you know, throughout this whole journey and what's helping, and that's the gentle weekly chiropractic care. And she uses an activator to do adjustments. So that's very different than the normal rip and grip. Doesn't work well with my body. And then she does craniosacral release, and that is amazing for my conditions that I'm dealing with. Okay, so the icing on the cake, the last thing, I'm just gonna leave you with this. This right here, man. This, other than the Tennant protocol, this has been such a lifeline of rich resources for my healing journey. And I saw the TED Talk with Dr. Terry Wahls. So go look up YouTube, TED Talk, Dr. Terry Wahls. You can hear her amazing testimony about how she went from being wheelchair bound to riding a bicycle, all by using food as nutrition. So, you know, the 3 different kinds of vegetables, 2 to 3 cups each day of each of those different groups of vegetables to specifically get certain nutrients. that's the basis of my diet. And when I was not processing food well at the very beginning, I modified that by juicing a lot of those things. That's not recommended in the Wahls Protocol, but I was at a point that I needed to juice, and I juiced for 2 years. And now I don't juice anymore. I juice smoothies. They work wonderfully. I love them. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about the Wahls Protocol, you guys. And she's not like this over advocate for some supplements or medication. She's not going to talk for or against it. It's just common sense science approach of using food as medicine. And there are different, like, and I had to get rid of the dairy and the sugar and gluten, which I already was gluten-free since like 2004, or mostly gluten-free. So it's, you know, that was easy. But eventually in some of the later, like there's level 1, 2, and 3. So as you go into it, it goes more towards paleo keto, where in the beginning it's just paleo. No, almost paleo. I'm confused because I don't think grains are not paleo. So that's why it says paleo principles. Okay, so again, wording is wonderful. And at the beginning, you can have like gluten-free grains and stuff. So, you know, don't be scared. It's just a wonderful wealth of knowledge and information. It actually talks about a lot of different, you know, holistic treatments in there too. Like, I'm pretty sure it talks about some of the things I just mentioned in this video. And it actually has some goals for movement, and I love that, like, because that was where I was. And you know, people don't understand when you completely lose the ability to live a normal life and be mobile. Your action steps to get out of it don't look like the normal person recovering from a knee surgery. It's not like that. So be patient with yourself. Be graceful, you guys. This did not all come overnight. I've hesitated even sharing this for so long because I know it's a lot, and I actually do want to bring out the list of supplements that I use just for the sake of giving it as a resource. So I will be doing that, but just know that, you know, I even get overwhelmed when I pull back 10,000 feet and look at what's going on. But then again, I also pull back 10,000 feet and look at the timeline, and I'm not where I was. And, you know, you chip this away, like chip a little bit away at a time. And before you know it, you've made progress. And before you know it, you go from laying down 80 to 90% of the time to sitting in a chair and making videos to help other people. So I'm really blessed, and I'm really grateful, and I'm really humble, and I'm hoping that I can keep answering your questions. So if there's anything in this video that I've said that either got you wondering another question or you needed some more clarification on, please feel free to put your comments or put your questions in the comments below, and I will get to them as soon as possible. Thank you so much, and God bless. Bye-bye.